As police look for a suspect, they wonder who wanted a Yonkers woman dead and why. With that shooting still so fresh in her mind, Vita's afraid to put her head on the pillow and have a restful night's sleep, fearful of having nightmares of people running from that shooting. And President Trump also reiterating today that the U.S. is not taking sides in this decision, even though protests and riots are expected in the region. Once Paul came out of the store, he saw that the driver's side window of his car was smashed, Lily was gone, and he knew right away that he had made a mistake. In this particular spot is where they had their New Year's celebration, where the ball drops. Thousands of people come out every year. Mayor Tom Roach told me, you see those sanitation trucks? They'll be here then too. Just hours after a southbound train traveling to Grand Central Terminal struck a woman here on the tracks. The outpouring of support for Anthony Steinerchia has been enormous. The Pelham Funeral Home director telling me that at yesterday's wake for Anthony, there were nearly 4,000 people. That's 2/3 of the population of the village of Pelham. 20 salt trucks will hit the streets tomorrow at around noon, but as far as the plows are concerned, those don't hit the ground unless there's more than 2 inches of snow. Not only does American Christmas send these displays out to New York City, Westchester, and across the globe, but they also do television show sets. The 84th production of the Radio City Christmas Spectacular is now in its final weeks, ending January 1st. This is probably the largest crowd that I've seen in these past 3 years. I spoke to Commissioner Chung, and he said that there are at least 20,000 people.
The Oscar goes to...
It's Hollywood's biggest night.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
A night where movie stars are awarded for their work with a statue that has become synonymous with the term award, Oscar. That you know. What you probably don't know
We sharpened up some of his features.
is the person who actually hands Hollywood's biggest stars their personalized trophy. No, it's not another actor. It's Adam Demchek.
You as a winner, you bring us your Oscar, and we have your nameplate waiting for you.
That's because before they appear in Tinseltown, Adam's Polished Talix factory in the town of Rock Tavern, New York, has to make them.
We've just completed our annual run of the Oscars.
This is the second year that Polished Talix has been responsible for crafting Hollywood's most prized possession.
We made 60 Oscars, so hand polishing 60 Oscars, you need a good amount of people to do that.
All 60 of these coveted gold-plated bronze statues have already left Orange County, and they're on their way to Hollywood for Oscar Sunday.
There's a lot of components to the sculpture, to the trophy, so it moves through a lot of different departments.
And that all starts here at Polished Talix.
This is a prototype. We start with a rough casting, a brand new casting. Waxes get a ceramic shell built around them. The wax gets melted out, the metal gets poured in, and you end up with a bronze Oscar.
You like me!
The thing is, there's something missing from those Oscars the winning actors are holding. It's Adam, who's backstage adding their name to the trophy, and then he's the one who hands them out personally.
2 little screws, give it a nice wipe down so it's clean when we give it back to you, and away you go. That's a finished Oscar at that point.
From Hollywood Hills to the hills of Orange County, remember where the real star was born.
The chin, the nose, the lips.
In Rock Tavern, Richard Giacobas, News 12.
She was every woman. She could have been your wife, your sister, your friend, your daughter. It could happen to her, it could happen to anyone.
The sound of a railroad train, now a husband's heartache.
They're taking your money to hide the truth. That's their job, and you better find out about it because it's going to kill someone you love.
Now filled with anger.
This was the good ship Lollipop, and if it stays this way, we are going down.
Alan Brody, the widower of the woman whose Mercedes SUV was hit on the tracks by a Metro North train in Valhalla back in 2015, came back to the Commerce Street rail crossing for the first time since the NTSB ruled driver error as the cause of that crash, a decision he vehemently disagrees with.
What we witnessed was pure political theater.
Brody, who filed a wrongful death and negligence lawsuit against the MTA and the town of Mount Pleasant in 2016, says the warning signs at the Commerce Street rail crossing are dated and that Metro North was given money by the DOT in 2009 to update the warning systems, 6 years before this crash.
They never did it. It never came up at the NTSB.
But there is something more that weighs on Alan's mind and what's keeping his fight alive.
I told her to come this way.
Brody says Ellen wasn't familiar with this area. Alan was. so he gave her the quickest route to get to their Edgemont home. He was the last person she spoke to. But Alan never had the chance to say a final I love you to his wife of 24 years.
The phone cut off. It was just a conversation helping her with directions.
Alan often returned to this very spot where his wife and 5 others lost their lives. Sometimes he'll drive or ride his bike, but he'll always stop and wonder, could he have done something? Or could he have told his wife to go another way? In reality, the only one who has answers is gone, but living on through Alan.
As long as I'm on this planet, this is going to change, and it's her divine presence in our lives that will keep me
in Valhalla, Richard Giacobus, News 12.
Oh, because you're retarded. What?
This is not how 4-year-old Luciano DeMarco wanted to watch his favorite team play ball.
I asked him yesterday to watch the Yankee game, which he loves watching, and he said, I want to watch the retards. It's sad. It's sad.
Luciano's mom and dad, who live in Harrison, brought their son to Tuesday night's Yankees game against the Reds. Luciano, who is developmentally disabled and wears a helmet to stop him from banging his head, was then berated by an adult. Speaking exclusively to News 12, his mom in disbelief.
When he said that, the phone dropped to the floor. He covered his ears and started hysterical crying and shaking while Yankees security ushers just stood there.
Angelica DeMarco says Luciano has sensory issues and doesn't understand social cues, which is why he was part of Friday's Day at Playland for people with disabilities. And it may also be why he could have acted out at the game.
He may have kicked a fan seat that was sitting in front of us with excitement.
Not expecting this reaction in a video that has now been seen thousands of times on Facebook, but what made it worse for Angelica was not getting any help from Yankee Stadium security.
We asked for a place for him to go. We were told if we leave the stadium, we can't come back in.
On the New York Yankees official website, they say that using foul or abusive language is strictly prohibited at baseball games. We reached out to the Yankees by both phone and email, and so far, haven't heard anything back. And until she does hear back, Angelica says no more Yankee games until they recognize her son's disability.
It's not just if I'm not in a wheelchair that I can't enter.
Richard Giacobus, News 12.